Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Conversation with Reflow Field Management. In this episode we're going to be recapping some of the best bits from last year with our special guests James and Will from Glanville Environmental, Matt from City TM and Matt Lambert from highwaysindustries.com, as well as our Reflow team. We're excited to announce that we'll be back with a brand new format designed to get you the best insights from industry experts on a range of topics, plus we'll be getting them to think on their feet and solve industry challenges.
My name's Matt Field and I'm the Managing Director of City Traffic Management Services.
So another hot topic at the moment is environmental impact and sustainability.
Yes.
So can you share any insights in the sort of sustainability initiatives?
We work with Greener Highways who obviously have a huge impact in sustainability and what they do, but there's going beyond that, there's so much more we can do as a business. So we're currently looking at alternative fuels, and that can include some of the new stuff that's coming through as well. So synthetic fuel is a big one that we're looking at. Obviously we've got electric vehicles, but are they as green as everybody says? It's debatable, but it's an option that we're using. There's also the batteries that we use in our sequential lights, our road danger lamps. We recycle them, and how we can recycle them and where they're going, making sure that they're going to the right place to be recycled, even down to simple things like our cone tops are plastic. So when a cone is damaged, it's a two-part cone, so when they're damaged sometimes they won't fit back together. So it's what do we do with the plastic cone tops? Where do they go? So there's every angle that you can look at. There's big numbers that you can get, CO2 reductions, synthetic fuels, stuff like that, electric vehicles, right down to the batteries we use, the plastics we use. There's a whole range of initiatives that we can look at, and we do look at. We've also got an idling vehicle policy, so a lot of our guys, when they pull up on site, so that van will sit there potentially idling for a number of hours so that they stay warm. So we're looking at in-cab heaters so that they turn their engine off, so there's no idling. There's lots of things that can be done. It's just how you approach them, and it's kind of trying to dip into every one a little bit to see what is the saving. Is it a big saving? Is it a small saving? It's looking at all the different options. So there is lots of options, and the industry is doing a lot around sustainability as well. You see some people doing beach cleans and stuff like that. All fantastic. It's all wins for the environment. And if we all do a little bit, then we all do something, rather than we all just sit back going, oh, they're doing X, they're doing X. Get out there and help. It's really not that difficult. We also allocate an additional day's holiday to all of our staff, and that's based around anything that they can do for charity, anything that they do for beach cleans, stuff like that. They will all, every single one of them gets awarded an additional day's holiday if they are undertaking a charity function, a clean, an environmental, something like that, something that's sustainable and helps the environment. We'll allocate days holiday for that person to go and do that, and so they don't lose out. And we feel that we're helping just that little bit. Over 100 staff, so that's 100 days, over 100 days being allocated to charities, sustainability schemes, anything like that that we can help with. It all helps the environment.
My name's James Goodman. I'm Contracts Director at Glanville Environmental.
I'm Will Glanville. I'm the Operations Compliance Manager at Glanville Environmental.
Glanville has just entered its 40th year as a company. So what's changed in the industry over those 40 years, and how do you think things are going to change in the future?
Obviously for us, the 40th year is really exciting. I think there's a lot of employees working at Glanville who have been with us a very long time, some 30 years plus. For them, it's been a lot of change, going from a very simple farming contractor to where we are now, roughly 200 employees. And in terms of compliance, obviously there's been lots of changes as new legislation develops. It's forever changing and ongoing, and it seems the more we expand, the quicker the changes happen. And I think the employees have become very tolerant to change. Obviously COVID as well happened in that time, and we've survived several credit crunches through that 40 years. But yeah, the business now, I would say, is probably stronger than ever, and we've got a really good platform at the moment.
It's a rapidly growing company. You look at us on a balance sheet, and the size has really shot up over the last 10 years, certainly. So that has come with obvious change, where the business has grown and the demands have grown. The key thing for us is, I would imagine at some point the business will get to a size where this is going to become very, very difficult and maybe impossible to do, but it's to try and keep the family ethos. It's very important to the Glanville family that we keep that family feel in the business. But we're also dealing with some huge clients that we work for on big framework contracts that just naturally start to demand that, dare I say, more sort of corporate approach. And we're trying wherever possible to keep the family feel. So yeah, some of our employees that are been with us for decades will have seen a lot of change. Most, if not all, for the better, I would hope. But yeah, we've moved more and more as a company, expanding on our utilities background into civil engineering. The fundamentals are still there, and I think sometimes it's probably one of the most important things is to remember those fundamentals of having a good work ethic and to do a quality job out on the ground, and ultimately to become a profitable going concern and be a viable business as well. Those things have got to stay key in amongst all of the rest of the noise and demand that's out there that we need to adhere to.
I'm Dan Moyes, sales manager here at Reflow.
I'm Ashley Wing, I'm the head of sales and marketing at Reflow.
Nikolai Pavlicek, I'm a marketing executive at Reflow.
So in summary, what is field management software? Because there's loads of different names that get thrown about all over the place. Really popular one is the field service management.
Yeah.
And that's not quite the same thing, is it?
No.
So if we could just summarise what field management software actually is.
I can answer that for you, Josh. So field management software, we're all about getting the source of truth from the field delivered back to your office. And that is about collecting data in the field, will be it form-based or process-driven, making sure things are signed, making sure safety and compliance is achieved, and having all of that information available at real time. This way of collecting the data is more of a field-managed way with the operatives in mind, delivered by an app, which is what Reflow does very well.
And some of the things where people might get confused is they might be looking for something like a project management solution, which is slightly different, although there are elements of that within our system as it is. But another one that people might kind of cross over with, or used to cross over with, was field service management. That's kind of more of a smaller based solution for smaller companies. So it's kind of like one man goes out and fixes a boiler. We're really all about scalability. So like teams of 10 up to like teams of 100, team of 1,000, etc. Moving on and on.
How does field management software improve like scheduling processes for teams? Because obviously, as you said, some teams can be enormous, some teams can only be 10 people or so.
Well, on a day-to-day basis, they're able to schedule out all their teams using our scheduling module of our software. And beyond that, it's also got a resource allocation feature now. So it enables them to actually not just to be able to schedule people out and send those packs of information they need to collect the data. They can actually get almost like forecasting on what availability they've got of their resources. So there's no clashing of assets, and what they're looking to schedule out is actually what they've got.
So what are some of the key features of a field management software package that sort of facilitate the tracking and monitoring of some of the stuff that people might get up to when they're out and about in the field?
The main thing is the app. I mean, the app was thought about and designed with the operative in mind, built from the ground up. So we keep it simplistic yet powerful to ensure that information is captured, whether it's form-driven or whether it's signing documentation or just having the knowledge and the education, because as we all know, managing skills and enforcing that is incredibly difficult as we're sort of moving on in this new sort of digital age. So we ensure that the knowledge base is there available to any operatives, and it's all a push of a button. That's the main thing, really. The main skill is through the apps.
I was going to say, Mick, we did that article, didn't we, on what is field management in your research? Because obviously we were looking at multiple systems, not just our own. What were some of the features that in that article that you consolidated together?
What I found is that there is generally a lot of variation in terms of features when it comes to all sorts of different software packages, but there is sort of an underlying core foundation of features, which is what Dan was talking about, the app, the dashboard, that sort of connection between the office and the site. And that's the most important part, obviously, because it facilitates that real-time data exchange, scheduling, asset management, planning. Everything's built from that. But then there's certain solutions that are more tailored to specific industries like construction or rail, and they'll integrate processes that wouldn't really apply anywhere else. I've seen some construction ones which implement parts of BIM software and that kind of planning, like 3D model viewing, which doesn't really apply anywhere else. Reflow in itself is very adaptable. It doesn't handle these really, really niche kind of features, but it's so flexible that it can spread to many, many industries, which is why we operate in so many and have so many clients across such a wide variety of sectors.
So Matt, thank you for letting us come and visit you at your office and use this lovely studio space. Can you just tell us a little bit about you, so who you are and what you do here at Highways Industries?
So my name's Matt Lambert and I'm the general manager here. The mission of the platform ultimately is to showcase our clients' brands to the industry. How we do that is through highwaysindustry.com. We have the largest online dedicated highways news website in the UK, and we have clients that will utilise digital packages of content on that platform to showcase themselves.
So you're also involved in Greener Highways. So can you just tell us a little bit about what makes Greener Highways so unique? Shed some light on the initiatives that you're planning to extend to its audience.
So Greener Highways for us was a bit of a step outside of everything that we do with the highways industry side of the business. It was very much brand and marketing focused. Greener Highways for us was born out of seeing more of our clients producing content around sustainability, and a few conversations in-house then leading to, I guess, a question of could we contribute? Could we do something that's a little bit more cause-based, that's not necessarily focusing on building people's brands and working on their marketing material? So this idea was born to try and build this, I guess, collaborative working group across the sector to be able to help in the acceleration of achieving the sustainability targets that this industry faces. Obviously, it's very carbon heavy, and the premise behind it really was things will only really change with more people at the same table, sharing ideas, learning from each other, working together. You can be the most sustainable company in the world in your own practice, but if you don't tell anyone, if nobody knows you're doing that, if you're not kind of linking in with other players within the same sector to achieve the bigger picture goal, you're kind of doing it for a competitive advantage. You're going to sell yourself on those sustainability benefits, but actually, are you doing it for the sustainability? Maybe. It's probably a really, really positive byproduct, but ultimately, if you only ever keep it to yourself, as a collective, we don't get anywhere. So that's kind of how it was born. That's kind of the premise behind it. And we're about, I think, 2 years in November. So we're a few months away now. So it'll be 2 years in November. We've got some really good relationships with National Highways, the Asset Management Academy. We've got some really, really proactive members. And yeah, it's going well. It's going well.
There are kind of two factors to sustainability. There's all the environmental side of sustainability, but then there's just kind of, keeping businesses going. Can you elaborate on the broader dimensions of sustainability?
Yeah, I think when we first started, to be honest, we don't claim to be sustainability experts. We never have. As I mentioned, we wanted to try and contribute something. What that was in its initial guise, we didn't know. Obviously now from reading, learning, researching and conversations, I think the environmental aspect is the one that everybody immediately would think about, especially in this sector, as I mentioned, very carbon heavy and a lot of targets around net zero. As you mentioned, like the economic sustainability of the sector, the kind of human factors and the human sustainability of the sector, as well as the social value element involved, are all things that we're trying to, I don't really like using the term like tick the boxes of as we move along. So looking at solutions that are economically viable initially and into the future. A massive topic in the industry at the moment is something like road worker abuse. Well, that falls into human sustainability if we've got no people. We don't have a sector, we've got no one to do the work in its most basic form, as well as a few other elements there. Skills gap being one of them. You know, it's got to be sustainable in that regard for people. And again, social value and kind of community initiatives, and all our members are looking to positively affect their localities and other institutions in their localities, which part of the reason that they became a member of Greener Highways. We have schools outreach. We have an initiative called My Greener Highway, where every member adopts a street or a work site that they pledge to keeping clean for 12 months, among some other things as well.
To catch up on the previous episodes of The Conversation, head over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. To be the first to find out about the new episodes, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media channels. To find out more about field management, head over to re-flow.co.uk.